Great partners. I want to thank the people that work at the plant that are getting it ready to go again and will operate it. Nothing in life just happens. Things only happen if humans drive them and humans make them happen. So I look back at you with pride and with excitement. I can't wait for that day 18 months from now when this plant is running and delivering nearly a gigawatt of additional electricity to Pennsylvania. This project is a poster child of the Trump administration's agenda. It's delivering on two of our large promises. One is to drive down energy prices for Americans here in Pennsylvania and PJM, but the agenda is in all 50 states across the country. I'll talk a little bit in the pathway to do that. And the other key agenda item for us is to win the race in AI. Our friends at Microsoft, just a tremendously innovative company that's investing massively in data centers, or maybe more accurately, intelligence factories that are going to help boost our economy economically, scientifically, and from a national defense perspective. It's very important that America leads in AI, and that means much more energy. We want to reshore manufacturing and jobs to our country as well. That as well only possible with more affordable, secure, reliable power. We got here because Americans are frustrated. We've seen a nearly 30% rise in average electricity prices of our country over the last 4 years during the Biden administration. No new electricity was produced, no great innovation we got for that trade-off, just a significant rise in electricity prices across our country. The problem started way back in the Obama-Biden administration when we just got off track off energy. You know, a misunderstanding of climate change, a desire to peddle fear and funnel investment in whatever direction, whether it made sense or not. And we started to build a whole bunch of new electric generating capacity that worked some of the time, but you didn't know when it was going to work and when it wasn't going to work. You can't run an electricity grid that way, so you had to build that kit and keep the existing stuff so the lights would stay on at peak demand times. As you build two grids and all that capacity, you're inevitably going to drive prices up. We also got overconfident. Well, maybe the wind will blow in these high pressure systems when the air is still. Well, no, it doesn't. And so we started to close too many plants, reliable, secure delivery plants. Part of them were because they were undermined by the economics of this new grid design. That if the wind is blowing, the federal government will send you a check, the state government will send you a check. We don't need your electricity because it's the middle of the day, but we'll send you a check. Well, what does that do? It undermines the economics of coal plants and of nuclear plants and of gas plants. That's why this plant closed. This plant wasn't even middle-aged yet. Nuclear power plants, and this plant in particular, incredibly long lifetime. Unbelievable engineering and steel that we saw inside that building. It could run, I predict right now I won't be around to collect the winnings, but this plant will be running at the end of this century. It'll have new electronics and new systems along the way, but it's just a foundational asset for our country. We're getting an extra gigawatt of power out of this. The Palisades plant that our energy dominance financing team, and I see him sitting in the room today, our first nuclear plant restart will come online perhaps next month in Michigan, and we've got more on the way. And we're going to work with Constellation and others to increase the power output of existing nuclear facilities, of generating plants around the country. But where were we headed? If President Biden's policies continued for 4 more years, where would that have led us? Well, as the head of the Energy Department and the keeper of all of that data and plans for where we were going, I can tell you, there was a little over 100 gigawatts of reliable firm capacity like this beautiful plant we're at today that was slated to be closed. Not because it was at end of life and it needed to be replaced, just because it was politically out of favor and we were going to close those plants. Well, guess what? If you close plants that work when you're at peak demand, when the wind's not blowing and the sun's not shining, if you close those plants, one thing is for sure, it is guaranteed that you will raise the price of electricity. Americans have suffered that. Americans have seen that. President Trump got elected to reverse that. So to date, in our 10 months, 11 months, in office, we've already stopped the closure of over 15 gigawatts of power production capacity across this country. If we had continued, we did an electrical study of looking at the grid and extrapolating forward 5 years. This was done in the spring. Where would we have been? If that 100 gigawatts had closed, and of course we wanted to participate in the AI race and build these data centers, resource of American manufacturing, blackouts would be 100 times more common than they were at the start of the time period. And they've already started to rise after a century of declining inflation-adjusted electricity prices and increasing grid reliability. This is America. We can get back to common sense. We are getting back to common sense. I'm very proud of this plant starting again. I'm very proud that we're going to change direction. We're going to reduce the risks of blackouts. We're going to drive down electricity prices. And we're going to make an investment climate, an energy climate, so players like Microsoft and all the other large American technology companies can build all the data centers that they want and have reliable electricity to power them. I'll end with one other comment on that. There's a growing belief in the public right now that data centers are the problem. New load is coming on our grid and that's going to drive up our electricity prices. I look back last 5 years at the data. It's actually the exact opposite. In states, think New York, think California, think Massachusetts, that have followed very bad energy policies, they've had the fastest rise in prices, and they produce less electricity today than they did 5 years ago. Or alternatively, if you look at the states that have welcomed new load and new development, the states that have had the largest growth in electricity demand over the last 5 years, those are the states that have either had no rise in electricity prices or modest rises below the rate of inflation. Growing the demand, steadier demand from data centers on grids is a surefire way to drive down electricity prices. So we want to keep existing plants open. We want to open premature plants that were prematurely closed. We are expediting the building of new plants. We are enabling existing plants, including with our friends at Constellation, to uprate, get more power out of their plants than they get today. We'll uprate them for tomorrow. All of these things will drive down prices for Americans, encourage businesses to invest and reshore in our country, and allow America to lead in AI. Thank you all for being here today. God bless you all that are restarting this plant, that are getting that work done, and then going to operate it going forward. That's the America we want to live in, an America of opportunity, an America of growth, an America of optimism, an America of lower prices and common sense.